You may have noticed the abundance of rain this summer has brought with it an abundance of mushrooms. While it may be tempting to take some, Massachusetts is home to two very poisonous mushrooms that could make you very sick. However, safe options for mushrooms and other foods are abundant right here in Needham. We spoke to foraging expert and author David Kraft, who has been foraging for over 15 years, as well as local forager Rebecca Wabert, to learn more about the joys of foraging and what our own backyard has to offer.
Honestly, you can find edible things so many places around Needham if you're just noticing and you're paying attention to the season. So I find these absolutely all over the place. In a couple of weeks, it'll be grapes, so it'll move on to the next thing. Early in COVID, when I kind of stopped driving and leaving the house, but I would still walk with a dog or with kids, and we would find all kinds of things. And I just really slowly learned, one thing at a time, what is edible and what to do with it. Like a blackberry is pretty easy, but then you come across ingredients like sumac that are a little more unusual, and you have to learn, what do you do with a new food, which is a fun problem to have.
I really can't overstate this because it's true to this day, and I've been doing it for a while now. This really strong connection and reverence for the nature around you. You know, we grow up and learn all these things as little kids, and you see all these plants and you see them every day. You're never really surprised by them. If you stop and think about how amazing it is, like life on Earth and trees and whatever, it just helps me to more generally be aware and be kind of re-engaged by the mystery of life on Earth and the beauty and the intricacies of it. We already know a lot of things you can forage: apples, peaches, pears. Somebody the other day said, "Oh my God, peach trees grow in Massachusetts?" I'm like, yeah, they grow all over the place.
Plant identification apps are incredibly helpful tools in identifying and learning more about the plants around you.
There's an app called Picture This, and it's really good. Like, you take a good picture of a leaf or a distinguishing flower or a berry, pretty much tells you with almost 100% accuracy what that plant is, which is really useful if you're going to get into this stuff now. It's just a huge time saver.
At DeFazio Field alone, I found self-heal, which can be eaten raw in salad or made into beverages. I also found fairy ring mushrooms and white sweet clover using an app called Plant Identify.
There's one for mushrooms. That one definitely should be taken with a huge grain of salt. And they even say it on there, like, do not use this app to identify mushrooms, because for edibility purposes, this is a guidance, but it's often wrong. And the reason it's wrong is because these mushrooms they just look alike, and that's what it's going by. It's going by how they look like. Mushrooms can look very similar, but be very different in terms of their toxicity.
At Ridge Hill, I found a lot of black trumpet mushrooms. There's only two mushrooms that I feel really comfortable with, which is black trumpets and chicken of the woods, because those are both mushrooms that there's no dangerous lookalikes where you might mess up. I don't know that you can make much of a survival on what you find in Needham, but it definitely adds some fun to a walk or to a meal.
For the Needham Channel News, I'm Jessica Burks.